Hello, everyone, and welcome to the English Globe, your favorite place to practice English, improve your speaking skills, and have fun while learning something new every day. I hope you all are doing well and feeling excited because today we have a really fun and useful episode planned just for you. Whether you're sitting at home, going for a walk, or just relaxing with your headphones on, we are so happy to have you with us right now. My name is Adam, and I'll be your guide on this journey to becoming a more confident English speaker.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia, and I'm so happy to be here with you again today. It's always a pleasure to talk with all of you and help you practice your English in a fun and easy way. If you're just starting your English journey, or if you've been learning for a little while but still want to improve your skills, this episode is perfect for you. Today, Adam and I will share some exciting and simple ideas that will help you practice English every day, even if you are just at home and don't have a teacher or a speaking partner.
That's right, Julia. You know, one of the most common questions we get from our listeners is, how can I practice English at home when I have no one to talk to? And the good news is, there are actually so many fun and creative ways to keep improving your English, even if you're learning all by yourself. You don't need a classroom, you don't need expensive courses, and you don't even need to travel to an English-speaking country. What you need is just a little bit of motivation, a few simple tools, and a little creativity. And that's exactly what we're going to give you in this episode.
Exactly. Today's topic is called 10 Fun Ways to Practice English at Home. And trust me, every idea we share will be easy to try, enjoyable, and most importantly, very helpful for your speaking, listening, vocabulary, and confidence. We want to show you that English doesn't have to feel like homework or something stressful. It can actually be something you look forward to doing every day, just like listening to music or watching a movie.
In this episode, Julia and I are going to take you through 10 different ways that you can use English in your daily life without even needing to leave your house. We'll explain each idea clearly and give you real examples, and we'll also talk about how you can make these habits part of your daily routine. For each method, we'll share tips, small conversations, and things you can try right after the episode ends.
And don't worry if you're still a beginner. We will speak slowly and clearly, and we'll use simple vocabulary so you can understand everything we say. You can also listen to this podcast many times, pause it, write down new words, and repeat what we say. It's all about practicing in a way that feels natural and enjoyable for you.
So, are you ready to learn and have fun? Great! Let's begin our journey and explore these 10 fun ways to practice English at home. Trust me, by the end of this episode, you'll feel more confident and excited to use English every single day. Now, let's begin with the very first tip of today's episode. And I really believe this is one of the most powerful, creative, and simple ways to practice your English speaking skills, especially when you're learning at home and you don't have someone to talk to regularly. Tip number 1 is this: talk to yourself in English. Yes, it might sound a little unusual or even a little funny at first, but this technique is something that many language learners, including successful speakers of English, use every day to improve their fluency, build confidence, and become more comfortable using the language naturally in their daily life. When you talk to yourself in English, what you're doing is creating a private and safe space where you can speak freely without worrying about grammar, mistakes, or what someone else might think about your speaking level. You don't need a teacher, a partner, or a classroom. You only need yourself, your voice, and your willingness to try. You can start by simply describing your actions, your feelings, or your plans for the day. For example, when you wake up in the morning, instead of just thinking in your native language, you can say something like, "Okay, now I'm going to the bathroom to brush my teeth, and after that, I'll make a cup of tea and maybe have some toast for breakfast." It's that easy, and it helps you practice real-life English in a way that connects directly to your everyday routine.
Yes, and I absolutely agree with you, Adam, because when I was learning a new language myself, Spanish to be exact, I often found that talking to myself was one of the best ways to get more speaking practice without feeling nervous or shy. Every day, as I was walking to work or doing small things at home like cooking or cleaning, I would just talk out loud in Spanish, saying things like, I'm cooking rice now, or it's a sunny day, I feel happy, or even, I need to go to the store after work to buy some vegetables. These small sentences may seem simple, but when you practice them again and again, they help you build strong language habits and develop the ability to speak more smoothly, naturally, and without stopping to think too much in your native language.
That's such a great example, Julia. And I really like what you said about building habits because I think that's the key to making real progress in English. Practicing a little every day until speaking becomes part of your normal thinking process. One of the best things about talking to yourself is that there's no pressure at all. You don't need to worry about making mistakes. You don't need to feel embarrassed, and you can repeat your sentences as many times as you like until they sound right to you. It's a quiet, private way to train your mouth and your brain to work together in English, and it really helps to improve not just your speaking, but also your pronunciation and fluency. Let me give you a simple example of what this could sound like, and you can try repeating it after me if you're listening right now. Let's say it's morning and you've just gotten out of bed. You could say something like this. Good morning. I just woke up and I feel a little sleepy, but I have a lot of things to do today. First, I'm going to take a shower, then I'll make breakfast. Maybe I'll eat some eggs and toast, and after that, I want to study English for 1 hour. I hope today will be a good and productive day.
That was a really great example, Adam. And what I love about it is that it includes so many useful phrases and everyday vocabulary that students can use in their own routines. And like you said earlier, it doesn't have to be anything complicated. You don't need big, advanced words or long speeches. You just need to speak from your own life, your own thoughts, and your own experiences. One more idea that many students find helpful is to practice speaking in front of a mirror, so you can see your facial expressions and feel like you're talking to a real person. You can pretend to have a conversation with yourself, ask yourself simple questions, and then answer them. It might feel silly at first, but it's actually a very effective way to train your brain and improve your fluency.
That's such a fun idea, Julia, and I think we should do a little role play right now to show our listeners how they can do it at home. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror and asking yourself some very basic but very useful questions in English.
So you see, listeners, even a short and simple conversation like that can be a great way to practice your English speaking skills by yourself. You can use a mirror, or you can just sit in a quiet room and talk out loud. You can make it fun, you can be creative, and you can even create your own daily speaking routine. Over time, you will see that it becomes easier and more natural to think and speak in English.
And one more tip. If you want to take your practice to the next level, you can use your phone to record your voice while you talk. Later, you can listen to your recordings, notice which words or sentences you had trouble with, and try again. This way, you are not only speaking, but also listening to yourself, which helps you improve even faster.
So remember, don't be shy, and don't be afraid of making mistakes. Every time you talk to yourself in English, you are building your fluency, one sentence at a time. And if you do it every day, even for just 5 or 10 minutes, you'll be surprised how quickly your confidence and your skills begin to grow.
That brings us to the end of our first tip. Talk to yourself in English. It's free, it's simple, and it's one of the best ways to keep your English active and alive in your daily life, even if you're alone. So after this episode ends, try it. Talk about your day, your plans, or your thoughts in English. You can do it. You really can. All right, let's move on to the second tip, which is another excellent and enjoyable way to practice English right from the comfort of your home, especially when you feel like doing something relaxing but still want to keep learning and improving your language skills at the same time. Tip number 2 is watch English movies or cartoons with subtitles. And believe me, this is not just about entertainment. This is about listening, reading, and understanding English all in one simple activity that doesn't feel like hard work, but still helps you a lot in the long run. When you choose to watch movies or cartoons in English, especially with English subtitles turned on, You are giving yourself a chance to listen to how real people speak the language in everyday situations, how words are pronounced naturally, and how sentences are formed in casual conversations, all while also seeing the words written on the screen, which helps your eyes and brain make strong connections between the spoken and written form of English. This method is especially useful for beginners because it allows you to slowly and gradually understand how English sounds and how it looks, all while you're enjoying a story that captures your attention and keeps you interested for longer periods of time.
That's absolutely right, Adam. And I think one of the best things about using movies or cartoons for language practice is that you don't need to force yourself to sit down with a textbook or memorize long lists of vocabulary. Instead, you can simply choose something fun to watch, turn on the English subtitles, and learn while you relax, laugh, or even sing along with your favorite characters or songs. This makes English feel more alive, more natural, and much more exciting than traditional classroom learning, especially when you're studying alone at home and need ways to stay motivated and entertained. For example, if you are just starting your English journey and want to begin with something easy and friendly, I really recommend watching Peppa Pig, which is a simple and sweet cartoon with very short episodes, slow speech, clear pronunciation, and lots of repeated words and phrases that help you get used to the rhythm and sound of English. Another wonderful choice for complete beginners is Dora the Explorer, which is especially great because the main character, Dora, speaks directly to the viewer, asks questions, and gives you time to respond, making it a kind of interactive learning experience, even though you're watching alone.
Yes, and I want to add that watching these kinds of cartoons or family-friendly shows is a great way to build a strong foundation in English because the language used is usually simple, the sentences are not too long, and the vocabulary is very common. Exactly the kind of English you need in your everyday life, like when talking about family, food, colors, emotions, or simple actions. And the good thing is, you don't need to understand every single word or sentence. Just by watching and listening regularly, your brain will start to recognize patterns, remember words, and understand more and more over time. Now, for those of you who enjoy animated movies or want to try something a little longer, there are many great choices that are still beginner-friendly and very enjoyable to watch. For example, you can try watching movies like Finding Nemo, Frozen, The Lion King, or Toy Story, which are not only fun and emotional, but also full of daily conversation, simple expressions, and common English words that will help you feel more comfortable when speaking. These movies are often made for a wide audience, including children and families, so the language is not too fast or difficult, and the stories are easy to follow even if you don't understand everything at first.
Now let's talk a little more about how to use subtitles the right way, because many students often ask, should I use subtitles in my own language or in English? And that's a really good question. If you are a very new beginner and watching a movie in English feels too hard, it's okay to start with subtitles in your native language for the first few minutes or even the first few episodes, just to understand the main story and get comfortable with the characters and what's happening on the screen. But after that, you should try switching to English subtitles as soon as possible, even if it feels a little difficult, because this is where the real learning starts to happen. When you watch something in English with English subtitles, your brain starts to do something amazing. It listens to the words, reads them at the same time, and learns how they are used in natural situations. This triple combination, listening, reading, and understanding, helps you remember words better, improve your pronunciation, and get used to how English sentences flow in real conversations. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes, even if in the beginning it feels slow or confusing. Don't worry if you don't understand every sentence. Just keep going. You'll get better and faster with time.
That's so true, Julia. And I'd also like to say that there's no need to watch the entire movie in one sitting if it feels too long or tiring, especially for beginners. You can watch just 10 or 15 minutes a day, pause whenever you hear an interesting sentence, and even repeat short scenes if you want to practice listening more closely or say the lines out loud along with the characters. This kind of active watching, where you're listening carefully, reading subtitles, and maybe even repeating what you hear, is much more effective than just watching passively like you would in your free time. It's like turning your movie time into a fun English lesson that you actually enjoy.
And here's a bonus idea. If you find a favorite show or movie that you really enjoy, you can watch it again and again. The first time, you can watch with subtitles in your own language. The second time, try using English subtitles. And the third time, maybe try watching without any subtitles at all, just to challenge yourself and see how much you understand now. Repeating content is not boring when the show is fun, and every time you re-watch, you understand a little more, and your brain learns better. Repetition is one of the most powerful tools in language learning.
So, to all of our listeners, we really encourage you to try this tip tonight or tomorrow. Find a fun cartoon, movie, or TV show that you like, turn on the English subtitles, and just enjoy it. Don't stress about understanding every word. Don't worry if you miss something, and don't try to translate everything. Just listen, read, and enjoy the story. You're learning, even if you don't realize it in the moment. Learning happens best when you're relaxed, engaged, and having fun.
So that was tip number 2. Watch English movies or cartoons with subtitles. It's fun, it's effective, and it's something you can do every day. You don't need a teacher, you don't need a classroom. You just need your screen, your curiosity, and a little time. And who knows? Maybe your favorite cartoon will help you become fluent in English.
Well said, Julia. And now, are you ready for tip number 3? Let's keep going. All right, let's move on to our third tip. And I have to say, this is one of my personal favorites. It's a tip that's not only fun but also incredibly effective for improving your English, especially for beginners who want to practice pronunciation, vocabulary, and listening skills. Tip number 3 is sing English songs. Now, you might be wondering, how can singing songs help me learn English? Well, it's a great question, and I'll tell you why singing is actually one of the best ways to connect with the language in a natural, enjoyable way. When you sing along to English songs, you're not only listening to the pronunciation and intonation of the language, but you're also getting a chance to practice rhythm, flow, and the natural way words sound when they are spoken quickly in everyday conversations. Singing is all about matching the pace of the music, and when you do that, your brain starts to get used to the natural rhythm of English. You'll notice that after singing along to your favorite songs, you'll feel more comfortable speaking English with the same smoothness and fluency. The melody helps you remember phrases, vocabulary, and even expressions that you might not learn through traditional methods, and it makes the whole process feel less like studying and more like having fun. It's like turning English learning into a karaoke session with a purpose. Plus, English songs often use everyday language, including slang and idioms, which means you can learn how native speakers really talk in real life. It's a very organic way to improve your vocabulary because you're hearing and memorizing useful words and expressions that people actually use.
Exactly, Adam. And I think what makes singing so special is that it engages your emotions and your voice at the same time, which means you're not just learning through your eyes or ears, but you're also using your body. Singing helps you develop muscle memory, especially in your mouth, as you practice how to pronounce different sounds, how to stress the right syllables, and how to enunciate clearly while having fun at the same time. Singing also forces you to pay attention to the melody and rhythm of the song, which helps you become more aware of the natural stress and intonation in English sentences. If you sing the song over and over, you'll get more comfortable with how English sounds, even when it's spoken very quickly or with an accent. So, if you're someone who enjoys music and wants to learn English without feeling like you're studying hard all the time, then singing is a perfect way to sneak some practice into your day, whether you're doing housework, driving, or just relaxing. You'll be surprised by how much vocabulary and grammar you pick up without even realizing it.
That's such a great point, Julia. And I think many of our listeners will agree that there's something about music that makes learning feel so much easier and more enjoyable. But if you're new to learning English or just starting out, it's important to pick the right songs. You don't need to dive straight into fast, complicated pop songs or difficult lyrics that will leave you confused. Instead, it's best to start with simple, slow, and clear songs that have easy-to-understand lyrics. Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star is a perfect example, especially if you are a beginner. The song is simple, repetitive, and uses basic vocabulary, so it's a great starting point. For a more modern choice, you might want to try songs like Let It Be by the Beatles or Hello Goodbye, also by the Beatles, because the lyrics are clear, the pace is slow, and the message is simple. You can easily find the lyrics online to follow along, and once you're comfortable with the song, you can practice singing it several times. The more you practice, the better you'll get at it.
Yes, exactly. And if you're someone who enjoys a more contemporary style of music, there are tons of great beginner songs out there. For example, songs like Count on Me by Bruno Mars or I'm Yours by Jason Mraz are both very popular and have clear, easy-to-understand lyrics that are slow enough for beginners to follow. These songs are not only beautiful and fun to sing, but they also teach important vocabulary related to emotions, relationships, and daily life. Another classic that many learners enjoy is Imagine by John Lennon. The lyrics are simple, peaceful, and full of positive messages. It's also a great song for practicing pronunciation because the words are clear and the phrases are repetitive. And one more suggestion. If you really enjoy country music, try Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver. The pace is slow, the words are easy to pronounce, and the lyrics paint a beautiful picture of nature and home, which makes it a fun and memorable way to practice English.
Absolutely, Julia. And here's the thing. Once you've found a song that you like, don't be afraid to sing it over and over again. In fact, the more you sing, the better you'll get at understanding the song's message, remembering the lyrics, and improving your pronunciation. Try to sing along to the music, even if you don't get every word at first. You can always pause the song, look up the lyrics online, and then try to sing again, paying close attention to the words you didn't catch the first time. By doing this, you'll build a stronger connection to the words and phrases in the song, and the meaning will start to become clearer with repetition. You might also try to hum a part of the song first and just get used to the melody before you try to sing all the words. Humming along helps you understand the flow of the song and also helps with rhythm. So, let's do a quick fun moment here, Julia. Let's hum a tune to give our listeners a fun example. How about we hum the opening of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star? Both hum the melody of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star for a few seconds. See, it's easy to hum along to the melody and feel the rhythm, and then once you get comfortable, you can start adding in the lyrics. It's a simple and enjoyable way to practice pronunciation and fluency without feeling any pressure.
Exactly. And the great thing is, the more you sing along with the music, the more you'll start to internalize the correct pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm of English sentences. And don't worry if you don't sound perfect right away. The key is consistency and having fun with it. Singing songs is about getting comfortable with the language in a relaxed, enjoyable way, and over time, it helps you sound more natural when you speak.
So, there you have it. Tip number 3 is to sing English songs, and it's a great way to improve your speaking skills, build your vocabulary, and just have fun while you learn. Find songs you love, sing them every day, and pay attention to the lyrics. You'll be surprised at how much progress you'll make by simply enjoying the music. All right, let's move on to our next tip. And I think this one is something that many of our listeners can easily incorporate into their daily routines. Tip number 4 is read easy English books or stories. Now, you might be thinking, reading? Isn't that for advanced learners? Well, actually, reading can be an excellent way to practice English at any level, especially when you focus on easy-to-read books or stories that are specifically written for beginners or young learners. And let me tell you, reading books in English has several amazing benefits that you can't ignore. For starters, when you read in English, you're not only improving your vocabulary and understanding of sentence structure, but you're also training your brain to think in English. The more you read, the the more words, phrases, and sentence patterns you will pick up, and this helps you develop a strong sense of how the language works. Additionally, reading is a fantastic way to reinforce what you've already learned from other activities, like listening to songs or watching movies. It's like adding another layer of practice that makes all of your other learning activities even more effective. But here's the key. When you're just starting out, it's important to choose books that are not too difficult. The books you select should be simple, with basic vocabulary and straightforward sentence structures that are easy to understand, even if you don't know every word. Think about the kinds of books you would recommend to a child who's just starting to read in their native language. Books with simple plots, repetition, and language that is clear and easy to follow. You don't have to start with a big, complicated novel right away. Instead, begin with books that feel achievable and enjoyable. Once you build your confidence and improve your reading skills, you can gradually move on to more complex texts. It's all about building a solid foundation first and not rushing into more challenging materials before you're ready.
Exactly, Adam. And one of the best things about reading books or stories in English is that it's an activity you can do alone, in a quiet space, at your own pace. You don't have to worry about following along with someone else, and you can spend as much time as you need to really understand each sentence. Plus, when you read, you're not just memorizing words, you're actually seeing them in context, in real sentences, used in real-life situations. This is one of the best ways to improve your vocabulary because when you read, you see words in action. And this helps you remember them much better than if you were just studying a list of random words. And because stories often repeat common phrases or sentence patterns, you'll find that reading helps you become familiar with how English is spoken in a more natural way. You'll also pick up important grammar points, like how to form questions or use tenses, all while enjoying a good story.
Yes, and when we talk about easy English books or stories, one fantastic place to start is with children's books. Many children's books are written in very simple English, with a focus on repetition and basic vocabulary, and they often contain fun, easy-to-understand stories that make learning enjoyable. For example, you can start with classic children's stories like The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle or Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. These books have colorful pictures, simple sentences, and important messages that you can understand easily, even if you don't know all the words. Plus, many of them use repetitive language, which helps reinforce new vocabulary and sentence structures in your mind. And the best part is, these stories are enjoyable, which means you won't get bored while reading, and you'll look forward to your next reading session. Another great option for beginners is easy readers, which are books that are specifically written for English learners. These books have controlled vocabulary and simple sentence structures designed to make reading easier for people who are just starting out. You can find easy readers at bookstores, online, or at your local library. These books are often divided into levels, so you can pick the one that matches your current skill level. One well-known series is the Oxford Reading Tree, which offers a range of books for beginners and gradually increases in difficulty as you progress. These books are perfect because they help you build your skills step by step without overwhelming you with difficult words or concepts.
And let's not forget about short stories, which are another fantastic way to practice your reading. Short stories, especially those written for language learners, often have engaging plots, simple language, and are shorter in length, making them less intimidating than long novels. You can start with collections of short stories that are designed for beginners, like Penguin Readers or Story Worlds. These series offer stories that range from fairy tales to adventure stories, all written in simple English with short chapters that you can easily digest. These books are great because they allow you to practice reading in small doses, which can be perfect for busy learners who don't have a lot of time to sit down with a long book. And because the language is simple and the stories are often exciting, you won't feel like it's a chore. You'll actually enjoy it.
Now let's take a moment to read a small example from one of these simple books, so our listeners can get a feel for what easy English reading looks like. Here's a sentence from The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle, which is a fantastic beginner's book. It goes like this. In the light of the moon, a little egg lay on a leaf. Now, this is a very simple sentence, but notice how easy it is to understand. It uses basic vocabulary like light, moon, egg, leaf, and lay, all words you might already know or could easily guess from the context. The sentence structure is also very straightforward: subject, verb, and object. This is the kind of sentence you'll see over and over in children's books. And because it's repeated many times throughout the book, it helps you remember these words and how they fit together. After reading this sentence, you might find that you start using similar simple sentences in your own speaking or writing, which is exactly what we want to happen. Reading helps you speak.
Right, Adam. And this is a great example because even though it's simple, it's also powerful. This sentence paints a picture in your mind. And that's another important thing about reading these books. They don't just help you learn vocabulary, they help you think in English. As you read these simple stories, you start forming mental images of the words you see, which helps you understand the meaning more deeply. You'll also start recognizing word patterns and sentence structures, and that helps you improve your grammar and writing skills as well. The more you read, the more these patterns and structures become natural for you, and soon you'll start using them in your own speech.
Exactly, Julia. And even when you come across words you don't understand, don't worry. Just keep reading. You can look them up later, but for now, try to guess the meaning from the context, or just skip over them and continue with the story. As you read more and more, you'll gradually become more familiar with new vocabulary and expressions, and they will become part of your vocabulary naturally, without the need for memorization. So, there you have it. Reading easy English books or stories is a wonderful way to practice English at home. Whether you choose children's books, easy readers, or short stories, the key is to start with something simple and enjoyable that fits your current level. As you read, you'll improve your vocabulary, understand sentence structures, and even start thinking in English. So grab a book, get comfortable, and enjoy the process. All right, let's dive into tip number 5, which is something I'm sure many of you have heard of before, and if you haven't, you're going to love it. Tip number 5 is use flashcards or English apps. Now, flashcards are one of the oldest tricks in the book when it comes to learning a new language, and that's for a very good reason. They work. But what makes them so effective, especially for beginners, is their simplicity. Flashcards are a visual aid that helps you connect words with their meanings quickly and easily. Whether you're learning vocabulary, phrases, or even grammatical rules, flashcards can help you memorize things faster and retain them better over time. The beauty of flashcards is that they are versatile. You can create your own set based on what you're learning, and you can use them anywhere and at any time. Flashcards are also incredibly interactive and can help you actively engage with the language, rather than just passively reading or listening to it. This active engagement helps reinforce your memory, making it easier to recall new words when you need them. But before we get into how you can use flashcards, let's first talk about how to make your own flashcards. Making your own flashcards is actually a very important step in the process, and let me explain why. When you create your own flashcards, you're not just writing down random words and definitions. You're actively engaging with the language and choosing the words that you feel are important for you to learn. This process of selection helps you focus on what's relevant to your own learning goals. For example, you might start by writing down words or phrases that you come across in your books, songs, or conversations that you don't understand. Write the word on one side of the flashcard, and on the other side, write the definition or a translation in your own language. If you want to take it a step further, you can even add a sentence using that word to help you understand how it's used in context. So you're not just learning isolated words, but you're also learning how they fit into real sentences and situations.
Exactly, Adam. I love the idea of making your own flashcards because, as you said, it makes the learning experience personalized. When you handwrite the words and their meanings, it's like you're building your own personal dictionary of words that matter to you. And here's the cool thing. You can make these flashcards anywhere. All you need is a set of index cards or even small pieces of paper. Write a word on one side and on the other side. Either draw a picture to help you remember the meaning or write a simple sentence that uses the word. For example, if you're learning the word cat, on the front of the card, you might write cat, and on the back, you could write a simple sentence like, "The cat is sleeping." You could also draw a small picture of a cat if that helps you remember the word better. The point is to make them visual and memorable. The more you personalize these cards, the more likely you are to remember the words and their meanings. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, but Julia, I don't always have time to sit down and make physical flashcards, and what if I lose them? Well, that's where English apps come in. The great thing about technology today is that we have these fantastic language learning apps that can create flashcards for you. You can carry them around with you on your phone or tablet, so you can study whenever you have a few minutes of free time. One popular app I love is called Anki. Anki is a flashcard app that uses a system called spaced repetition, which means it helps you review the cards at increasing intervals over time. This method is scientifically proven to help you remember words for longer periods of time, rather than just cramming all the information in one go. You can create your own flashcards on Anki, or you can find pre-made decks for English learners that cover a variety of topics like vocabulary, grammar, phrasal verbs, and even idioms. I highly recommend using Anki, especially if you like the idea of organizing your learning and using it in a way that feels manageable.
Yes, Julia, Anki is fantastic for its spaced repetition technique. It's like having your own personalized tutor in your pocket. But if you're looking for something a bit more interactive, or if you want an app with games and activities, there's another app called Quizlet, which is also amazing for English learners. With Quizlet, you can create flashcards, but it goes a step further by allowing you to play different games and tests based on the flashcards you've made. These games help you learn and practice your vocabulary in a more dynamic way, and they add an element of fun to your studying. For example, you can play matching games, where you match the word with its definition, or take quizzes to test your knowledge of what you've learned. And just like Anki, Quizlet allows you to use spaced repetition so that you're not just memorizing words once and forgetting them. You're reinforcing them regularly so they stick in your long-term memory. Plus, Quizlet has a community feature, so you can share your flashcards with other learners or search for flashcard sets that other people have created. It's a great way to connect with other students and learn together.
And another reason I love apps like Quizlet and Anki is because they are portable. You don't have to carry around a bulky set of physical flashcards, and you can study anywhere, on the bus, during your lunch break, or even while waiting for an appointment. These apps let you take your learning with you, so you're never without your flashcards. Plus, most of these apps are available for both iOS and Android, which means you can download them on your smartphone, and they sync across all your devices. This way, if you start a flashcard set on your phone, you can easily pick it up on your tablet or computer later on.
That's a huge benefit, Julia. And the best part about using these apps is that they give you the flexibility to practice at your own pace. You can focus on the words or topics that are most important to you and revisit them whenever you need a review. And if you want to take it a step further, you can combine flashcards with other learning activities. For example, you could make flashcards for vocabulary words you find while watching English movies or reading books. This way, you're connecting new words to the contexts in which you encountered them. It helps reinforce your understanding of the language in a way that's very natural. Flashcards are also great for practicing pronunciation. If you're unsure how to say a word, you can use apps like Google Translate or Forvo to listen to the pronunciation before you add the word to your flashcard deck. This ensures you're learning not only the meaning of the word, but also how it's pronounced in a native way.
And let's not forget that flashcards are great for practicing phrases and expressions too. Rather than just focusing on individual words, try making flashcards for full sentences or commonly used phrases. For example, You could make a flashcard for the phrase, "How are you?" on one side, and on the back, you could add a response like, "I'm good, thank you." This helps you practice real-life conversations and will prepare you for everyday situations. You can also create cards for idiomatic expressions or phrasal verbs, which are tricky for many English learners. Flashcards are a great way to break down these more complex parts of language into manageable pieces, making them easier to understand and remember.
So, whether you prefer traditional paper flashcards or the convenience of apps like Anki or Quizlet, the key is to use flashcards regularly to keep learning English fun and engaging. It's an easy way to practice new words, improve your vocabulary, and stay consistent with your learning. You can use flashcards at any time, and they'll always be there to help you reinforce your knowledge. It's all about keeping things interactive, accessible, and most importantly, fun. All right, let's move on to tip number 6, which is something I think many learners overlook, but can be incredibly helpful in improving your English. This tip is all about writing a daily journal in English. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, why do I need to write a journal? I'm not a writer, I just want to speak better English. But let me tell you, writing is a fantastic way to improve not only your grammar and vocabulary, but also your overall fluency in the language. When you write, you're forced to think about how to express yourself clearly, and you have time to focus on the correct sentence structure and word choice. It's a great way to reinforce what you've learned during the day, and it helps you internalize the language, making it easier to use when you speak or listen. One of the best things about writing a journal is that you don't have to worry about making mistakes. Nobody else has to read it, unless you choose to share it. It's just for you. This gives you the freedom to practice without feeling self-conscious, and you can write as much or as little as you want. It's also a wonderful way to track your progress. If you look back at your journal entries after a few weeks or months, you'll see how much your language skills have improved. You'll notice that you're using more complex sentences, better vocabulary, and even starting to think in English without translating from your native language. Now, to make it even easier for you to start, let me give you an example of a simple journal sentence. Let's say today you had a nice day, and you want to write about it in your journal. A simple sentence could be, "Today was a beautiful day. The weather was sunny, and I went for a walk in the park." It's a short and simple sentence, right? But it's a great way to start. The important thing is that you're practicing the basic structure of the language. You're using simple sentences that you can easily understand and build on over time.
Exactly, Adam. That's a great starting point, and it's really helpful for beginners. But if we want to make this journal entry a little more interesting, we can add a bit more detail. For example, let's take the sentence you just wrote and expand on it to practice using more descriptive language. Here's how we can make it more engaging. Today was a beautiful day. The sun was shining brightly, and the sky was clear with no clouds. I decided to go for a walk in the park to enjoy the lovely weather. I saw many people walking their dogs, and I even stopped to talk to a friendly woman who was reading a book on a bench. It was such a peaceful and relaxing afternoon. Do you see how adding a few more details can make the story more interesting? By describing not just the weather but also the people and the feeling of the day, you're practicing how to express yourself more vividly in English. This is a great way to build your vocabulary and use more varied sentence structures, which is important as you progress in the language. You can also practice using different tenses, such as the past tense, I went, I saw, and the present tense, the sun is shining, which will help you get comfortable with switching between tenses in your speaking as well. Exactly. By writing every day, you're not just improving your vocabulary or grammar, you're also developing your ability to connect ideas and express yourself more fluently. One thing I recommend when you write your journal is to focus on describing your feelings and thoughts too. Don't just write about what happened, but also how it made you feel. For example, after describing your walk, you could add something like, I felt really happy and relaxed as I walked through the park. The fresh air and sunshine made me feel so calm and content. It was the perfect way to spend my afternoon. This helps you practice using emotion words and gives you more vocabulary to express yourself in a natural way. You don't need to make every sentence long and complex. Keep it simple, but add variety to your entries. You can experiment with different ways of describing the same thing. For example, instead of always saying "I feel happy," you could say "I feel excited" and "I feel grateful" or "I feel energized." This expands your vocabulary and helps you express yourself more clearly. Yes, Adam. And another great tip is to set a time limit for yourself when writing in your journal. For example, you could challenge yourself to write for 10 or 15 minutes every day. This keeps your practice consistent, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. Plus, you'll find that the more you write, the easier it gets. At first, it might feel difficult to come up with things to write about, but as time goes on, you'll start to notice that you have more to say and your thoughts flow more naturally in English. A simple journal entry might start with just a couple of sentences, but after a few weeks, you'll find yourself writing paragraphs without even thinking about it. Also, don't be afraid to experiment with different types of writing in your journal. You don't always have to write about your day. You can write about your goals, your dreams, or even a book or movie you've recently enjoyed. Try writing about your opinions on certain topics, or write a letter to someone in English. By doing this, you'll practice different styles of writing and become more versatile in your English skills.
Great point, Julia. Another idea to keep things fun and creative is to add a little bit of storytelling to your journal. You don't have to write an entire short story, but you can start practicing writing stories, even if they're about your own life. For example, you could write, "Once upon a time, I went on an adventure in the city. I didn't know where I was going, but I was excited to discover new places. I stumbled upon a beautiful garden that I had never seen before. It felt like a secret place that only a few people knew about." Now, this is still your own experience, but by turning it into a story, you're using more descriptive language and practicing how to build a narrative. You can even add dialogue like, "I saw a man in the garden, and I asked him, 'How long has this garden been here?' He smiled and replied, 'It's been here for years, but only a few people know about it.' This not only makes your journal more engaging, but it also helps you practice dialogue writing and narrative skills that will come in handy when you want to tell a story in real-life conversations.
Exactly, Adam. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to write your journal. The most important thing is to write regularly and reflect on your language learning. Keep it light, keep it fun, and most importantly, keep it consistent. You don't need to spend hours on it. Even just 5 to 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference over time. As you continue to write, you'll notice that your confidence in both writing and speaking grows, and you'll find it easier to express yourself in English. So grab a notebook or open your phone and start writing your own journal today. It's a simple and powerful tool to help you improve your English every single day.
All right, let's move on to tip number 7. And this one is a real game changer when it comes to building your confidence in speaking English. This tip is practice speaking with a mirror. Now, I know it might sound a bit strange at first, but trust me, this technique is incredibly effective, especially for beginners. The reason practicing with a mirror works so well is that it helps you see yourself speaking. When you look in the mirror, you're not only focusing on the words you're saying, but also on how you're using your facial expressions, body language, and even your gestures to communicate. This type of self-awareness can be really helpful because it builds your confidence and helps you get used to seeing and hearing yourself speak in English. It's one thing to practice speaking with someone else, but it's a whole different level when you can practice alone, in a safe space, without the fear of making mistakes in front of others. Speaking in front of a mirror allows you to practice fluency and pronunciation, and it gives you a chance to work on your accent and intonation. It's like having a mini practice session where you're focusing on improving all aspects of your speech. You can also practice things like eye contact and gestures, which are important when speaking English in real-life situations, especially in conversations. You don't need to worry about making mistakes or forgetting words because you're just practicing for yourself. Over time, this will help you feel more comfortable and natural when speaking in front of others. And as you keep practicing with the mirror, your confidence will grow and you'll notice a real improvement in how you speak. Exactly, Adam. Practicing in front of the mirror is also a great way to track your progress. If you record yourself speaking one day, and then you listen to it a few weeks later, you'll hear how much your pronunciation, fluency, and confidence have improved. The mirror allows you to be your own coach, so you can focus on your speaking skills without feeling rushed or judged. And the more you practice, the more you'll notice that your thoughts are flowing more easily in English. You won't have to pause as much, and you'll start finding it easier to form sentences naturally. Let's take an example. Imagine you're practicing for a situation where you need to introduce yourself in English. You could stand in front of the mirror and say something like, "Hello, my name is Sarah and I'm from Brazil. I'm learning English because I want to travel and meet new people. I love reading books, and I'm really excited to improve my English skills." Now, while you're saying this in front of the mirror, notice how you're moving your hands, what your facial expression is like, and how you're standing. Are you relaxed? Are you speaking clearly? Are you smiling? All of this helps you not only improve your language skills, but also your body language and confidence in using English. That's a great example, Julia. Practicing like this, in front of a mirror, also helps you with self-correction. If you hear yourself making a mistake, or not pronouncing a word correctly, you can immediately correct it. For instance, if you're practicing a sentence and realize that you're not pronouncing the word comfortable correctly, you can slow down, say it again, and keep repeating it until it feels right. This constant self-correction allows you to refine your skills at your own pace. And over time, you'll begin to notice that you don't need the mirror as much because you've become more confident and natural with your speaking. But even if you don't need the mirror anymore, the habit of practicing speaking regularly will have become ingrained, and that's something that will stay with you as you continue to improve your English. Now let's move on to tip number 8, and this one is a fun one, I promise you. Tip number 8 is play English games online. This is such an exciting and interactive way to practice your English skills, especially if you're someone who enjoys playing games. And the best part is that there are plenty of games designed specifically for beginners, so you don't need to worry about feeling overwhelmed. Online games can help you with various aspects of language learning, from vocabulary and grammar to listening and speaking. And when you make learning feel like a game, it keeps things exciting, and you'll find that you're more motivated to practice every day. There are many online platforms and apps that offer games designed to make language learning enjoyable. For example, websites like Duolingo, Babbel, or Memrise have fun language games where you can match words with their meanings, complete grammar challenges, and even play quizzes to test your knowledge. These apps use a combination of flashcards, multiple-choice questions, and interactive exercises to help you learn. The best part is that you're not just sitting there memorizing vocabulary or grammar rules. You're actively engaging with the language in a fun, competitive way. As you advance in the games, you unlock new levels or earn points, which makes you feel like you're progressing and achieving something. It's a rewarding experience.
And the really cool thing about playing games online is that they often focus on real-life situations and practical language skills. For example, you might play a game where you have to order food in a restaurant, or you might have to answer questions about different places around the world. These types of games help you practice useful vocabulary that you'll need in everyday conversations. It's like playing a role-playing game where you get to practice English in different scenarios. One game I remember is a really simple one where you have to match pictures of things like food, animals, and household objects with the correct English words. It's an easy game, but it helps reinforce vocabulary, and the visuals make it easier to remember the words. It's not only helpful, but also really fun.
Yes. And let me tell you about one more fun example. There's a game called Wordscapes, where you're given a set of letters and you have to form as many words as you can with those letters. It's simple, but it's great for beginners because it helps you build your vocabulary and you get a sense of accomplishment as you unlock new levels. The cool thing about games like Wordscapes is that they allow you to play at your own pace. You can play for just a few minutes a day and you'll still make progress. The game also gives you hints when you're stuck, so it's not frustrating and it motivates you to keep going. You're learning without even realizing it.
Exactly, Adam. And don't forget the social aspect of some online games. Many language learning platforms let you connect with other learners, so you can compete or work together to solve challenges. This adds an element of community to the game, which is great because you can practice speaking and listening skills by interacting with others. So, while you're having fun, you're also practicing real language skills that you'll use in real-life conversations.
Absolutely. So, whether you're playing a vocabulary-building game like Wordscapes, practicing grammar with Duolingo, or engaging in real-world situations with Memrise, playing English games online is a fun, easy, and effective way to practice your language skills. It's a perfect way to make learning feel like a game, and the more you play, the more you'll improve without even realizing it. And the best part is, you're having fun while you do it. So, if you haven't already, check out some of these games and make them a part of your daily practice routine. All right, let's move on to tip number 9, and this one is super easy to implement. It's a fun and simple way to learn new words while you're at home. Tip number 9 is, label items around your house. Now, you might be thinking, what does labeling things around my house have to do with learning English? Well, let me tell you, this technique works wonders for beginners. The idea is simple. Take some sticky notes or small pieces of paper and write the English names of objects you use every day. You can stick these labels on items like your door, your table, your mirror, your fridge, or even your shoes. Every time you look at that object, you'll see the English word for it, and it'll help you associate the object with the language. This method is great because it's a visual learning technique, and we know that many people learn better when they can see things. When you start labeling your house, you'll automatically begin to memorize these words without even trying. Every time you walk into a room, you'll be reminded of the English words for the objects around you, and that constant exposure helps reinforce your vocabulary.
Yes, Adam. And what's really fun about this is that it can make your home feel like an English language environment. Imagine you're sitting at your table and you look over to your bookshelf or your lamp and you see the words bookshelf and lamp written in English. It's like creating your own mini English classroom, but the best part is that you're learning while you're going about your everyday life. You're not setting aside special study time. You're just incorporating English into your daily routine. And let's be honest, the more you see a word, the easier it is to remember. It's like having a constant reminder right there in front of you.
Exactly. And as you add more labels to your house, you'll start learning not just basic vocabulary, but also more specific words. For example, you could label things like your microwave, your toaster, your remote control, and your notebooks. Before you know it, you'll have learned dozens of new words just by seeing them every day. And the beauty of this method is that you're learning in a context that's familiar to you, your own home. This makes it a lot easier to connect the English words with their meanings. One thing I also recommend is labeling the rooms in your house, like kitchen, living room, and bathroom, to help you remember these common words. As you go through your day, try saying the English word out loud every time you pass an object with a label. This will reinforce the word and help with pronunciation too.
That's a great point, Adam. Also, if you live with family or friends, this is a great opportunity to practice speaking and asking questions. For example, if you label the refrigerator in the kitchen, you could ask someone, "Where did you put the milk in the fridge?" Or, "Can you pass me the juice in the refrigerator?" Even though the labels are on the objects, you can use them as part of your everyday conversations. This gives you extra practice with speaking, and you'll find yourself learning new words in a natural and easy way. It's like you're integrating English into your life, without it feeling like extra work.
All right, we're down to our final tip, and it's a great one if you're looking to practice your English with others. Tip number 10 is join online English groups or forums. One of the best ways to practice your language skills is by connecting with other people who are also learning English. There are many online communities, groups, and forums where you can interact with native speakers or fellow learners, and it's a fantastic opportunity to practice writing, reading, and even speaking. The best part about joining these communities is that you're no longer learning in isolation. You get to exchange ideas, ask questions, and even make new friends who share your passion for learning English. And there's a wide variety of online groups to choose from, whether it's through social media platforms like Facebook or language learning apps like HelloTalk. These communities are full of learners just like you, and you can ask questions, share tips, or even find a language partner to practice speaking with.
Yes, Adam. One of my favorite platforms for connecting with other English learners is HelloTalk. This app allows you to chat with native speakers of English, and you can find language partners who are learning your language as well. It's like having a conversation exchange, and it's a great way to practice real-life conversations. You can text, voice message, or even have video calls with people from all over the world. The app also offers features like translation, so if you're unsure about a word or phrase, you can easily look it up and continue your conversation. It's a great way to break out of your comfort zone and speak English in real time.
Absolutely. And don't forget about Facebook groups. There are thousands of language learning groups on Facebook where people post questions, share resources, and practice together. You can join groups like Learn English with Friends or English Learners Community, where you can ask questions about grammar, pronunciation, or even share a short video of you speaking English. These groups often have a friendly atmosphere where everyone is helping each other out, so it's a supportive place to be. Another great thing about these online communities is that you get exposure to different accents and speaking styles. As you practice with native speakers and other learners from around the world, you'll hear different ways of speaking, which will help you improve your listening skills and understand English better. It's not just about learning vocabulary. It's about learning to understand how English is spoken in different contexts and regions.
Exactly. And remember, joining these online groups and forums is not just about improving your writing skills. It's also about building connections and having conversations. You might find someone who is learning English just like you, and you can help each other out. It's an excellent way to practice real-life English, ask questions about things you don't understand, and get immediate feedback. And if you ever feel shy or nervous about speaking English, you can start by writing in the groups. Once you get comfortable with writing, you can gradually build up to speaking. So, whether it's through HelloTalk, Facebook, or any other online community, joining an English group is a fantastic way to practice your language skills, meet new people, and stay motivated in your learning journey.
Right. So, to recap, by joining these online groups or forums, you can surround yourself with a community of learners who will support you, give you feedback, and motivate you to keep improving. This is such an easy and accessible way to continue your language practice. Plus, you'll be using English in real conversations, which is the best way to learn. So don't hesitate. Look for a group or forum that suits your needs and get involved. Well, there you have it, our 10 fun and effective tips to practice English at home. We hope these suggestions inspire you to start using English every day in a way that's enjoyable and practical. Remember, the key is consistency. So try to incorporate these tips into your daily routine and make learning English a natural part of your life.
Absolutely. Whether it's labeling items around your house, joining online groups, or simply watching movies with subtitles, there's always a way to make learning English fun and engaging. Just keep practicing, stay motivated, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's all part of the learning process.
Exactly. We believe in your ability to improve your English, and with these tips, you'll make great progress. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode. Keep practicing, and remember, you're doing awesome.
Take care, everyone, and keep up the great work. See you next time.